So good morning and thank you for joining today's webinar. My name is Mike Bolton and I'm part of the life science team here at Technia. I'm also joined here today by my colleague Rupayan Mukherjee. In the next 60 minutes, we would like to take you through an introduction into chemical and material inventory management and what tools organisations are using to calculate the true savings of chemical inventory management. Before we get into the main presentation, here's a quick agenda. So firstly, I'd like to quickly recap on what we covered on our last webinar. Next, we will ask ourselves what chemical and material inventory management is. This will then lead into why inventory systems fail in labs and the tools companies are using to stop this from happening. Rupayan will then take you through an overview of our chemical and material inventory management system, SysPro, and we will then summarise and answer any questions anyone has. Should you have any questions during today's webinar, then please add these to the questions section on the right-hand task pane, and we'll answer these at the end. We will also have a few short polls during the webinar we would like to get your involvement in. So with the laboratory being at the heart of every science-based organisation, companies need to ensure smooth and efficient lab operations that comply with different local and global regulations. Biovia's lab management module virtualizes the processes related to the management of samples, lab tasks, studies, and instrument metrology. These modules help integrate systems and instruments into the lab and automate the transfer of data across lab operations and beyond. This increases the overall lab productivity, consistency, and compliance. In our previous webinar, we focused on how an electronic lab notebook could help improve an organization's quality, compliance, collaboration, and team efficiency, all within the lab environment. During today's webinar, we will have a focus on the tools companies are using to deliver a complete and sustainable solution that allows them to utilize existing workflows, yet streamline their chemical and material inventory management processes. So let's ask ourselves, what is a chemical and material inventory management? This is basically the management and control of raw materials, samples, biologicals, and chemicals. Companies that utilize chemicals in their labs and their manufacturing processes must manage those chemicals in a safe environment in accordance with government regulations. At a minimum, to ensure that this is accomplished, a system for managing information about the chemical safety and inventory data should be established and maintained. So why do inventory systems fail in labs? Well, the purchase and management of chemicals can have a significant impact on operating costs. Lack of information on chemical usage affects the ability to manage chemical costs efficiently, which can lead to underestimating the resources required. Discarding inventory because of poor inventory system management increases company expenditures unnecessarily. A common problem many labs stumble over is how to keep track of bulk chemicals, equipment, and solvents. Knowing who has taken an item, what condition the item is upon return, and whether it needs to be reordered are just a few of the questions that need to be addressed to ensure accuracy. Many custom designed chemical inventory management solutions are too difficult to use, hence only a few people have the knowledge and patience to perform inventory logistics correctly. As a result, accuracy and timeliness of a chemical inventory data suffers. Valuable time may be lost when experiments must be stopped because the necessary chemicals are not on hand. Performing any process or using any system requires training. Thus, lack of training can be a barrier to use. Obviously, the simpler the processes and software involved, the better. A best practices chemical inventory management solution is straightforward and intuitive, enabling users to learn the steps easily, retain the details, and perform logistics to the requirements. If chemicals in existing inventory can't be readily found, then more must be ordered. If the misplaced chemicals are found after expiry, then they must be discarded, resulting in wasted inventory. In addition, chemicals that are not retested in a timely manner before they expire must also be discarded. A best practices solution can eliminate these problems and associated costs. Also, a best practices chemical inventory management solution acts proactively to supplement lab processes, not waiting for input. It addresses the above and other problem areas, allowing the organisation to make the best use of all chemicals in all facilities. Features like barcode labelling and tracking, remote inventory control, and automatic email notifications are all parts of a best practices solution that enables the organisation to maintain accurate chemical inventory information in real time. And finally, many lab software solutions offer add-on inventory modules. While these may be bundled with another system, they are rarely comprehensive and tend to have limited functionality. So, do you know who stores what, where, and how, for which purpose, and how much is left? So with the Biovia SysPro solution we provide, this enables organisations to maintain a listing of all the chemicals and materials in each facility at the container level, keeping track of where they are in real time and monitoring usage. An unlimited number of material classes can be tracked, including reference standards with multiple security layers. Inventories for individual business units can be maintained independently, yet managed collectively under the same company account. SysPro delivers all the necessary tools to accurately track and report chemicals and supplies, including controlled substances, while meeting safety and regulatory requirements, including barcode labeling, remote inventory control, and safety data sheet management. Reports are easy to generate, allowing chemicals to be listed by location, vendor, name, class number, formula, etc. Most importantly, hazard information is easy to access during an emergency. I would now like to hand over to my colleague, Rupayan, who will take you through an overview of this Biovia SysPro product and how this tool can be used to manage your chemical and material inventory. So over to you, Rupayan.
Thank you, Michael. Today we'll have a short overview of the SysPro product and have a look at its features and capabilities. What we will have a look in general is how the general user tasks are managed, the user interface, its homepage, how we do search of materials, material management, ordering and requesting inventory. Container management, we'll have a look at how we can manage containers and chemicals, and a little bit of reporting. So where we can manage different kind of reports. So the first thing that we want to do is source materials in a lab. And so we'll have a look at how SysPro helps us in sourcing materials in the laboratory. So let's dive into the application. SysPro is hosted on the cloud environment provided by the Source Systems called Science Cloud. So from here we can navigate to the inventory section, which is a name for the SysPro product. Here, when we source materials, as a scientist who's working in the lab, I need the ability to quickly view the details of materials. This could be safety information, net quantity, etc. Also, we need to search for different materials for our projects. Now, those may be from the internal stockroom, or it could be also from an external catalog. Now, let's look at what it looks within the system. So first, I will go ahead and search for chloroform in the internal inventory and see what we have. SysPro provides a powerful Google-like search where I can do various different types of searches. This could be providing any term, whether it's a product name or a trade name or a CAS number. It could also be a catalog number or a chemical abbreviation. Here I can provide a certain criteria and also select what kind of data I want to search. SysPro also supports structure-based search to help you find chemicals or biologicals or any other materials based on this structure. So let's go ahead and do a vast search. Once I search, the view provides me a list of all the results that I have based on chloroform search. Here I have some filters automatically available to me and the results here. So I can go ahead and look at the chemical details here. I can also add it as a bookmark if I need to. When I click on the details, it takes me to the material details or the chemical details here. I can go ahead and filter, apply a filter such as container, and you can see if there are multiple filters, it keeps collapsed, but I can expand and see more filters available here. I can go ahead and filter it on a higher level. So I can keep on drilling down into different filters that I have available on my search, and you can see the filters keep on getting applied here. So I can also remove a filter and go back to my previous view. So when looking at a container now, I can have a look at the details of the containers that I have here. So you have more detailed information on the containers here. So you can see the barcode as well as the material name the container contains, its net quantity, and how much volume is available. Additionally, you can also see any documents that are attached here or any requests or dispenses which have been made from to or from this container. So for example, in this container, you can see there's a receipt of 2 liters. If I open another container, let's say, and it has a different kind of dispense. Okay. Another navigation that we have. So here you can see I have a lot of containers here. If I open container details here, I can also directly navigate to the material from here, and it takes me back to the material details. Also, now I can see what material data it contains, such as its trade name, the supplier, the part number. Also, I can see if there are any regulatory lists attached here. I can also see the hazard information if it's defined, along with its storage compatibility, any other documents which are required for this material can be added here. Additionally, we'll have a look at another material. Let's go back here. So if I go here, the home page, also allows you to configure your own list of frequently used reports or actions, whatever you're going to define here. You can always go ahead and configure your home page, move around your icons, and save it. So this allows us quick access to frequently used actions and reports, or even searches, as you can see here. SysPro supports creation and maintenance of materials as raw material, suppliers, and biologicals as well as chemicals, and also provides a navigation on the left-hand side pane here. So you can find your own favorites, your recent actions, and other details here. So now I would like to go ahead and find chemicals. So I can type, click on here, and type chemicals. And the list filters and provides you the required list. Once you navigate to the chemicals, you will be able to see all of the chemicals available in the system. Here, I can quickly click on a chemical. So this gives me the same information as we saw before. Some additional information that SysPro provides us is you can see the tier 2 marking, any synonyms that you want to store. It will also show you any components that you have defined. We saw the hazards as before, so you can see that different hazard categories have been defined here. You also have the GHS or jurisdiction data on the chemicals, so you can have your own pictograms defined. The GHS codes are all added here. You can see more details if you need to, and you can add more label codes if needed, along with the classifications on the chemical. So you have default jurisdictions, but you can always go ahead and add new jurisdictions. You also have the structure, as well as any documents and receipt plots if needed. The containers view will show you all the containers that it's been in use. So here, if we open another chemical, so let's go ahead and open chemical here, or we can just chloroform. Okay. So here again, when we are in a material or a chemical, we can go ahead and see the list of containers that it contains, and we can again navigate from a material to a container. So it lists all the containers and any other details such as location and its quantity, and you can navigate and view the details of the container here. Okay, so this is an advantage with SysPro as an application, that you always have a direct link between the material and the container. Now that we have looked into our internal inventory, we'll go ahead and also have a look at an external catalog. SysPro provides an external catalog called the Advanced Chemical Database, or the ACD, which is also known as the data mart. So now that, let's say we have a chloroform for our experiment, but we also need bromobenzene for some other projects. So we are going to search for bromobenzene. Against the external catalog. We can search through a big list of suppliers, or we can set our preferred suppliers so that we can narrow down the search on specific suppliers here. So if I open the list here, you can see there are a lot of suppliers in the external catalog. You can search on all of those suppliers or only some of them which are marked as preferred. So I have around 6 suppliers now which are set as part of the preferred suppliers list, and I can select the preferred supplier list and search bromobenzene. So now you can see the list of chemicals or raw materials that I found on all those suppliers. It also provides you details on the size, the catalog number, and cost. It also provides some actions here. You can see or expand the results if you need to see all of them, otherwise it's collapsed. Here, this information comes along with the CISPRO product. You can either import it or import the product here as a raw material or chemical supply or biological, and you can also request material creation based on what accesses you have. It could be either of them. The advantage here is before importing or requesting this material, you can open this material and see the safety data sheet here and all the safety details. So you have this link as well as some additional attributes here. You can also click on the link and see the safety data details here about the chemical or material. So this link is directly available from supplier, so you'll always have the updated information on the chemical here. So with this, we come to the end of our first section, where we saw how we can source materials in the laboratory, how we can save time. We can request material from both internal and external stores in an electronic environment. We can work in real time with stockroom managers, and we can also ensure compliance while we select from preferred list of vendors and review the safety data sheet before and during ordering of the product. So let's go on to the next section where we will have a look at how we can manage local inventory. So go back to the system. Here, as an inventory manager in the stockroom, we'll have to route requests, and based on those, we either create material or import it and receive it into the inventory. Here I would like to request material creation. I can go ahead and request material creation from this list. I can order for 3 gallons and save my changes. So once I've saved changes, it is saved to my cart, and I can quickly go to my cart and see what kind of requests I've created. I can also add it to my favorites or on the list, so I can have a recurring request on a scheduled time. Here, I will submit my selected items, and it will go into my list of submissions here, where I can track the different requests I have created and if they have been fulfilled or not. Whatever selections I do, they go to my default inventory group and delivery location based on my user settings. So once I have it as an inventory manager, I can go back and go to my list of submitted requests, where I can see how many requests I have now pending or to be fulfilled. So you can see the latest is today here, and I can go ahead and fulfill the request using create material. So once I go ahead and request it, you'll see that I get a create material option where I need to set the default fields here, but a lot of the information has been imported from the external catalog that we had seen before. So SysPro automatically imports all of the information and it refers it from that external catalog, which was used to create this request or import this content. We have the structure, we have the sizes available here, any synonyms, and SDS links are also added. So you can go ahead and create this product. Once created, you can see it has it shows us all the details about that item. Here I can also now go ahead and receive this material. If I click on receive, it will allow me to receive this material into different containers here. So I can put an expiry date here, as well as a different location if I need to. I can add more rows of numbers. I need for now 3 containers. Net weight. And also I can set manufacturer information if needed, and if I want to set up to print labels or not. So every material or container can have its own default label, which we can set on while receiving those containers. Now I can see this. Once received, the information shows me the material details, the receipt lot, and this also allows me to receive more material. For now, we'll have a look at the receipt containers. So now that we have received it, it contains all of the information for that container. So you can see it has the net quantity, the material. We can also go ahead and look at the SDS. Since we created the same chemical from the external catalog, it has the same safety data sheet and all the latest information. Since this is a link and not a physical document, it will always have the latest data sheet available on the link from the supplier. It also shows us additional information such as the location, the label format, and inventory group, which can be configured. We can also go ahead and see how the print label looks. We can select a PDF barcode label and download it and have a look at it. So this is how the label looks. So we can configure the label to include multiple information from the container itself. Finally, if we want, we can go ahead and dispense this container. So it allows us to dispense the child container or for use and add also more material to the container. We'll quickly do a dispense for use. And I'll dispense 5 grams from this container. So once I have dispensed, it kind of tracks all of that of the dispenses here, and you'll see that we have other information available. If it's also a controlled substance, we can mark it here, and all of the history is also available on the container. Okay, so now that we have seen how to manage materials and containers, We'll have a look at how we can quickly and efficiently perform these actions in real time. So CISPR provides us the chaos mode. The chaos mode gives us a capability to perform actions in a swift and real-time manner. It leverages the barcode scanning capabilities to scan in items, to move, transfer, dispose, and the different types of modes can be executed in real time. So updating the inventory is really fast and easy, and it can also be done on a mobile device. So let's say walking from one lab or one room to the next, you can perform these actions. So let's try transfer by location. So let's say I want to transfer a container from one location to another. So I can scan this barcode here, and system identifies that we are going to transfer by location mode. Next, I need to put in or scan the location here. So I will put in the location code. Once the system scans it, it identifies the location based on the barcode. And then I need to provide a container. And once I have scanned the container barcode, it performs the action and it gives me a notification that the container is transferred to a certain person at this lab location. So this gives us a quick and easy way of performing inventory related actions. Finally, if we move to the next section, we'll have a look at the locations. CISPR also allows us to manage locations, as you saw when I was using different locations for use. So you can maintain multiple locations. You can also assign inventory groups for each location, as well as you can define storage compatibilities. So the storage compatibilities will notify you if an incorrect container which does not belong to a specific storage or is not compatible with a storage location, and if that container is trying to be stored in an incorrect location, it will give you a warning and show you that the storage compatibility does not match for the specific container or the material in the container. Okay, with this we come to the end of our second section for demonstration, and here we saw how we can manage local inventory in the stockroom, how we can save time, expedite material handling with barcode scanning. We can improve safety by automatically flagging received chemicals with regulatory information and hazard information, and also storage compatibility, through which we can ensure compliance using enforcing these storage compatibility and applying different GHS labeling standards. So with this, we move on to the next section of our demonstration, where we'll have a look at EHS monitoring and reporting. So as an EHS manager, there's a lot of responsibility to ensure that the organization is in compliance with federal and state regulations. Now, such activities include managing hazardous materials, tracking quantities and expiry, disposing these hazardous materials and chemicals properly and on time. CISPR helps us to proactively monitor regulated inventory and generate different types of reports based on various regulated reporting requirements. So let's start with a simple report. Now I would like to check all containers across some of my locations quickly and easily. So here I have a report configured which I can use. It's called all containers by location. So if I click on it and provide a path of the this is basically the location as we saw before. It's path of location, and as I have configured in the system, I can provide the path and click on grid. So it gives me a quick view and all the details of all the containers that I have in that location. It shows me the barcode, the location code, or location path, the expiry, what material it has, who owns it, quantity of those containers, and its status. We can also extract it as a zip, as a CSV or an XML, and save it for use. And we can also provide some sorting and filtering on this report. So this is a simple report that can be used to find all the containers in a specific location. Next, we'll have a look at regulatory lists. So regulatory lists are used to maintain a track on your inventory based on certain criteria. We can add this also while creation of a chemical. So I can quickly go to the lists here, and you can see I have some regulatory lists configured on my system. Creating a regulatory list is quite easy. I can go ahead and add a regulatory list here. I can define a name. Let's see. And also list mode. SysPro allows us to either manually manage or aerial manage a regulatory list. Aerial managed regulatory lists are based on subscriptions, and this can be done in a completely automated fashion. When we set up a aerial managed regulatory list, it integrates with a 3E managed aerial database, which consists of over 900 different regulatory lists, and they are continually updated and managed by 3E on a quarterly basis. In that case, we don't have to add any the details. It will always look up the subscription and manage this list. For now, we'll quickly do a manually managed list. Here, we can use a property of a material or a chemical or biological here to define the regulatory list and then add those values here so that SysPro can monitor the inventory based on these criteria. It can also mark it as a controlled substance if needed. Once created, it will show us something like this. You can add regulatory list member here. You can print or export this list here. But you can see I have a list name toxic, and I have the criteria as CAS number. And all of the CAS numbers which I've added here, they will be monitored as toxic in my inventory. It will also show us all the materials that fall under this list here and any history of that list. I can at any point of time edit the list and add more values in this place. I can also add additional details such as control substance, any priority, or expiration open expire intervals. Okay, so once I have configured this list, I can go back and see a list view of all the inventory that is regulated through that list. So this is done through a pre-configured report here for the current regulated inventory, and I can provide the name of my list here. You can also add more filters such as material name and owner name or location, and see a grid view of all the details. So once more to get a better view here. So here you can see all of the materials that fall under the toxic regulatory list, and it also shows additional details such as material name, CAS number, barcode, quantity it has, its unit of measure, its location, any expiry dates or date of creation. So all of this information will be available to us. We can also export it as CSV or XML and add any sorting or filtering that is required. So this gives a very efficient way to monitor and regulate your internal stockroom inventory. Okay. Next, we will have a look at two more reports which are used widely across chemical organizations. So the first one is HMIS data. So a lot of organizations need to ensure that they are within fire code limits so that there are less incidents. Based on building regulations, control zones are set up in the system to manage maximum allowed quantities. And this is more important for companies which have a building and different floors of a building used for chemical storage. So let's say the maximum allowed quantities for hazardous materials decreases as you move up in those floors of the building, and CZ1 is a collection of all stockrooms on the first floor, while CZ2 is on the second floor, and so forth. So we have set up CZ1 to have 100% of the maximum allowable quantity, and as you go up to the fourth floor, the maximum allowable quantity decreases to 50%. So we can generate our fire code HMIS report here based on how we have set it up. And this could be based on building regulations and how those control zones as well as the fire code classifications are set up. And based on that, the HMIS report is generated. So here we can type HMIS, and you can see I have something called HMIS materials, and based on the control zone configuration how I'm set it up, I can view the list of chemicals here. So SysPro here provides inventory. It automatically rolls up those hazardous inventory and performs unit conversion calculations, along with organizing the report into identifiable hazardous categories, so that the total quantities on site and amounts that are exempt are visible. It helps in case of emergency because you can present this report to emergency responders in a short time. So here you can see once I have generated this report, I have different exports. So I have the CSV export available, XML, as well as a PDF generation. So I can generate this report in a PDF format. And also I have additional information here. So if I can scroll to the right, you can see I have this quantity related information. Okay. So I have you can see the PDF here. So you have all of the data exported in the PDF. I'll go back and generate it once more. So along with the PDF, we have all the details here. So you can see the control zone, the class of the material, its hazard category, what kind of hazard class it has, its hazard type, its storage. If I go ahead here, I can see more details such as its storage properties, and Here we also have the liquid properties. Finally, you can also see any quantity related information here. So all of this data can be generated in a matter of minutes or seconds. Okay, with this, finally we'll have a look at another important report. So another important hazardous report that may be needed for many organizations is the tier 2 reporting. So to have all the any and all chemicals which are marked as tier 2 fall under this reporting here. So I can quickly find my tier 2 reporting here. This is pre-configured from SysPro, and so SysPro kind of automatically also manages and monitors any and all tier 2 materials. I need to provide a location here. So I will type a location. I will select my North Research Lab here, and I can click on the report. So you can see the report provides me a list of all the chemicals which fall under the tier 2 category. It gives me the trade name, CAS number, other details, any health hazard details, maximum quantity, and storage conditions. So all of these details are available for the tier 2 reporting. Here we can then monitor and track the average quantity usage as well as what's the maximum quantity and how many days they have been on site. You can also print this, and as with others, you can perform sorting and filtering here also. We can also export it to the CSV if needed. With this, we come to the end of our third section of the demonstration. Here, we saw how we can improve safety, knowing exactly what and how much of all materials are in any location at any point of time. We leveraged real-time data to accurately report on chemical inventory and safety for periodic requirements or drop-in audits. This helps us ensure compliance, and SysPro also helps us save time because it automates all the calculation and unit conversion, as well as the report preparation activities to generate reports in seconds rather than days or months. As a summary, we saw how we can source materials in the lab using, we can see the CAS numbers, name, we can also do substructure searches. We also saw how we can manage local inventory in the stockroom, where you can order, receive, dispense, transfer, and perform other actions on materials and containers. And we also saw how we can do monitoring and reporting for EHS, where we can perform regulatory list management, fire code, and tier 2 reporting. So the capabilities of SysPro provide users of different areas some significant benefits. This does increase efficiency, cost savings, and safety through real-time tracking and managing waste and faster searching. While we do this, we are also maintaining correct and updated safety data. Also, it helps the organization greatly to avoid lab incidents. To summarize, digitalization gives us the ability to create a connected digital lab where all lab digital information is captured directly and is traceable back to its source. We can therefore leverage the information for new materials, and we are also removing redundancy and increasing efficiency. With this, I come to the end of our demonstration. Thank you.